All right, today we're heading high up into the Andes to explore the absolutely mind-blowing engineering of the Inca Empire. I mean, these guys mastered some of the most challenging terrain on the planet, building an empire that was every bit as durable as the stone it was carved from. And that really is the big question, right? Think about it. You've got sheer cliffs, crazy high altitudes, constant earthquakes. How did the Inca not only survive all that, but actually build cities and connect a massive territory? Well, the answer is all in their unbelievable ingenuity. So, first things first, let's really get a feel for the world they lived in. And this is key. They weren't just living in the mountains, they were masters of them. They actually turned the hostile Andes into a source of incredible strength. Okay, let's get our bearings here. We're talking about the Andes Mountains, all along the western coast of South America. The capital was Cusco in modern-day Peru, and what's really wild is just how fast their empire grew. The whole thing basically rose and fell in about 100 years before the Spanish showed up. This timeline really puts that rapid rise into perspective. You can see it right there. The empire gets founded around 1438, and just 12 years later, they're already building masterpieces like Machu Picchu. But then, boom, it all comes to a crashing halt when the Spanish arrive in 1533. Okay, so now let's zoom in. We're going from the huge, sprawling empire right to its beating heart, the imperial capital of Cusco. And this wasn't just any city. It was the absolute political and spiritual center of their entire world. And right smack in the middle of the capital was their most sacred place of all, the Coricancha. Just try to picture it. This was the absolute epicenter of the empire, a place of just immense power and religious meaning. The Coricancha was without a doubt the most important temple in the empire, dedicated to the sun god Inti. And get this, when the Spanish colonials arrived, they wrote about how its walls were literally covered in sheets of pure gold. But honestly, the gold wasn't even the most amazing part. The real treasure was how they built it. And that brings us to their signature building technique, something called ashlar masonry. Basically, they would cut these massive stones by hand with such incredible precision that they fit together perfectly. And I mean perfectly, with absolutely no mortar holding them together. You couldn't even slip a knife blade between them. It's just wild to think about. No mortar, just perfection. And this wasn't just for looks. This technique made their walls unbelievably stable. See, the region is prone to earthquakes, so when a tremor hit, these stones could literally shift and then settle right back into place. It was genius. Okay, so we're leaving the capital down on the valley floor, and we're climbing way, way up into the clouds to probably the most famous Inca site in the world, the stunning royal estate of Machu Picchu. You know, even today, this place still holds so many secrets. What was it for? Was it a secluded private getaway for the emperor? A sacred religious center? The truth is, we're still debating it. And that just adds to the mystique of this incredible place. And look, this place wasn't just a bunch of buildings sitting on top of a mountain. It's a city that was built into the mountain itself. Completed around 1450, it's really the ultimate showcase of their engineering skill. The structures follow the natural contours of the ridge, and they carved farming terraces right into the steep slopes. It's this seamless, perfect fusion of the natural landscape and human construction. So that raises a question, right? How do you connect a remote mountaintop citadel like Machu Picchu to the capital and to the rest of this massive, sprawling empire? Well, their solution was to build one of the greatest infrastructure projects in all of human history. It was called the Capac Yan, or the Great Inca Road. We're talking about a massive, super sophisticated network of trails that crisscross the Andes, linking every single corner of their domain. This road system was brilliant because it served three crucial functions all at once. First, it was a communication superhighway. They had these elite runners called chasquis who carried messages in a relay system, moving information incredibly fast. Second, it was a transportation route for moving goods and armies. And maybe most importantly, it was the thread of integration that stitched their vast, rugged empire together. Really, the best way to think about it is that the Capac Ñan was the empire's circulatory system. It pumped information, resources, and authority from the heart in Cusco all the way out to the farthest reaches, keeping the entire empire alive and unified. So as we start to wrap this up, let's just take a moment to think about the incredible legacy the Inca left behind. It's truly a legacy that was forged in stone and engineered for eternity. You can really boil it down to this. They were faced with these rugged, unstable mountains. Their solution? Terracing and perfectly engineered citadels. They were faced with a vast, disconnected territory. Their solution? The Kapak-Yan road network. See, they didn't fight their environment. They harmonized with it. You know, for all its power and genius, the Inca Empire itself only lasted for about 100 years. And yet, here we are 500 years later, through conquests, countless earthquakes, and the simple passage of time, their work endures. It's still standing. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Their empire is gone, but their structures remain, whispering lessons to us across the centuries. So, in our world today, where so much feels disposable and temporary, what can their legacy of permanence, of precision, and of harmony with nature, what can it teach us about building to last?